comment on the term white privilege. I'd love for you to take this one. This would be good.
Like I said, I don't speak to all white people, for all white people. So it's interesting. Whenever I talk about race, I always find it's the white people who are most upset with what I say than the black people. I'm not sure why that is. I don't understand what's intended by white privilege. I would just look at it this way. There is a stream in our culture that makes it easier to succeed if you're white. Yes, everyone has the same opportunities, but not everyone has the same foundation that they're standing on. Slavery was 140 years ago. That's 2 old women. That's 2 old women ago. That's not that long ago. All of us know in our family of origin that there's dysfunctions in our families where we've been around forever and we keep wrestling with it, whether it's alcoholism, judgmentalism, whatever it is. Well, we took African families, kidnapped African families over here, and we obliterated the family structure, utterly obliterated it. I mean, the number of fatherless homes in black kids will have less fathers by far, and no question statistics will show very, very clearly one of the leading indicators whether or not you will succeed is if you have a dad in the house. Yeah. One of the leading indicators is whether or not you will have both parents in the house. That's just statistical fact, okay? And when we created something way long ago, the black community has still not recovered from it. Yes, they have some responsibility and choices they're making right now. Yes. Okay, just understand, there's things that I take for granted that I just have, that are foundations that I'm standing on, that African Americans just don't have. You mentioned another one I didn't even think about, white privilege, even governmental decisions as recently as World War II in the 70s.
We were talking about this. So, one of the things that often gets mixed up, it might be a question we get today, isn't the issue in the divide in our country really more of a poverty issue, the haves and the have-nots, and there's a racial issue? And in my mind, you can't separate the reality of our country when you ask that question. So we were talking about in World War II, when GIs were coming back from the war, there was the initiation of something called the GI Bill, which we probably all heard of. The GI Bill did 2 main things. It created opportunities for people to finance education, and it made it easier for people to finance homes. So you used to have to put 50% down on a home. The GI Bill came, and that went way down percentage-wise, and there was like $150 billion poured into a program, a governmental program to make that happen. Well, the way that program was administrated, you had something called redlining. And that was absolutely done along racial lines geographically. So it was harder or almost impossible for people who weren't white to access those funds. If you think about the average American family, their wealth is in their home. If you're 4 generations of homeowners, the likelihood is you're going to have more wealth than a generation who didn't have that opportunity. And that was a systemic program that limited that opportunity. So when you look today at haves and have-nots, when you look today at the level of home ownership in certain Cincinnati neighborhoods, you can't divorce it from the reality that there was a program that racially discriminated. So we were talking about that.
Yeah, I think, you and I might differ a little on this. For me, I'm more concerned about the poverty issue than the race issue. I see the injustices, but I'm more concerned about the end result of poverty, and I have an equal amount of heartbreak for rural Kentuckians who are living in bad trailer homes I ride by on my bike as I do people in inner city projects who are just about all black, right? So race and poverty, they intersect.
Yeah, completely agree. Let me say one other thing on white privilege that I would say. I think you explained it super well. I would just encourage you, if you're white and that term bothers you, don't get stuck there. I think a lot of times, my experience has been in conversations, whites can get stuck there. And I got to explain away white privilege. I didn't choose this. And it's like, okay, that's not the point. The point isn't to get stuck there. The point is to say, if that's reality, then how do you respond beyond that? And
not only that, let's just get a little sparks going here a little bit. Not only that, there's a lot of 20-somethings that would say, white privilege, my rear. I come out of college with the same degree as somebody else, and I'm even better than them, and I see them, they're black, and they're getting all kind of job offers because companies want to hire black people. It's hard for me as a white person to get a job. Yeah. You think that's a problem or not?
It's definitely a change in our culture for sure. I mean, I think there's for sure people who feel that way. We talked about this before. I'd love to know the statistics on that. For the 5 stories of people who say, man, I got edged out of a job for a black person, there's a whole lot of other stories on
You're
the other
right.
side
Well,
of it.
isn't that part
a
of
whole
the,
lot.
But isn't that the problem here with it too?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's perception of
Right.
young white people, and for sure there's other black people whose perception is reality. So
That's right.
I think I don't know what the actual data is, but I'll tell you very clearly, there's a lot of hardworking, pull their themselves up by the bootstraps, younger white people who went through college debt, didn't have it given to them, and they come out on the other end and they're at a major disadvantage, and that's something they feel.
Yeah.
Now,
I
I'm not
agreed.
saying they're right or not. I'm just saying,
Agreed.
hey, this is a complex thing.
Agreed.